First section, finding stocks to trade. First, let's answer the following question. What do we even trade? So, guys, most beginners, they trade random stocks they hear about on Twitter and Reddit. You lose money because these guys on the internet, they're pumping stocks. They're promoting extremely cheap pennies, extremely cheap options, low volume stocks. But no, we don't trade that. That's gambling. It's not trading. But us, we have a system for finding the right stocks. We trade options on high volume stocks. So, step number one for my strategy is every single day I look at SPY. SPY tells us what the broad market's doing. So, if SPY is green, that tells us that today is a green day in the market. If SPY is red, it tells us that today is going to be a bearish day in the market. Same with QQQ, but QQQ tells us what tech stocks are doing. So if QQQ is green, then we know our tech stocks like NVIDIA, AMD, tech stocks like that are going to be green. If it's red, then it could be red. So first things first, every day you look at SPY and QQQ. Then this is where it gets very, very in. We compare individual stocks to SPY and QQQ. So what does that mean? So, first things first that we look at is I'm going to give you guys a list of stocks too, don't worry. But we're looking at, is a stock moving with the market or against it? So, what you're going to do is you're going to pull up your chart and you're going to put SPY next to the chart that you're looking at. So, for example, SPY next to Apple. And if SPY is going up while Apple is going down, that means that Apple is weak. Apple is a weak stock. But if SPY is going up and Apple is going up, that means that Apple is a strong stock. This is called relative strength and relative weakness. So relative strength is when a stock is going up while SPY is not going up. Relative weakness is when a stock is going down while SPY is staying in the same spot. So what we're looking for stocks that are stronger or weaker than the overall market. So relative strength. For example, guys, when a stock's outperforming the market. So if SPY is up 1%, but my stock is up 3%, that means that there's strong relative strength. Relative weakness. Say SPY is down 1% and the stock is down 3%, the stock is down a lot, that means there's strong relative weakness. So you might be asking PB, why does this matter? Stocks with strong relative strength tend to keep going up while the market goes down or the market stays in the same position. So look, say SPY is going up and the relative strength stock is also going up, but it's going up faster. When SPY starts to dip, the relative strength stock isn't going to dip as much. What this allows us to happen is it allows us to minimize our downside and maximize our profit. Same thing with the way down. Let me tell you guys something. Every single thing with the market, if there's a long side to it, if there's a way to do it to the upside, there's a way to do it to the downside. So every bullish setup, there's a bearish setup. Every bearish setup, there's a bullish setup. This gives us an edge. So what's an edge? Guys, an edge is something where you have a slight advantage compared to other people, a slight advantage compared to the market. So our edge is being able to find these stocks that are moving better than the other stocks. Let me show you how. So for example, do you guys see here how SPY was going down and the stock was staying in the same spot? Do you guys see that? Do you see how SPY is going down and the stock is not dipping? The stock is trying to go up. So what do you guys think is going to happen when SPY starts to go up? This stock is already extremely strong. It's going to explode. Which look, so SPY just bounced a little bit and look what happened to the stock. It ripped. So you notice how the stock with relative strength, it kept pushing higher while SPY was flat. That told us that NVIDIA was the strongest stock, and that's what we're going to watch. So now let's look at relative weakness. Do you guys see here how SPY is chopping, but this stock is dumping while SPY is chopping? Or when SPY bounced, this stock barely bounced. Chopping means going back and forth. But does everybody see that? Does everybody see how SPY going back and forth while this stock is weaker than it? What does this tell us? What is this stock then? What is Meta here? Weak stock. So this is the stock we're going to focus on for puts. It shows weakness. Exactly. I personally traded this setup. See how this yep. So I made $2,800 the other day, all because I identified that Meta was weaker than the SPY. So look, we also compare stocks to other stocks in the same sector. So if you're going to do tech stocks, compare the best of the best, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, and ask yourself, which one is the strongest and which one is the weakest? Because look, the strongest one moves the best. The strongest stock in a strong sector is going to be the best trade. But look, we only trade stocks with high volume. We need liquidity to get in and out of trades easily. So look, guys, everyone get your notebook out. These are the stocks that I look at every single day, and I find the weakest and strongest ones. Apple, AMD, Amazon, ARM, Coin, Hood, IWM, Meta, MU, Netflix, Nvidia, Palantir, QQQ, Shop, SMCI, SPY, Tesla, Google. Now, you guys, so now we have these lists of stocks, right? Every single morning, I look at the one that's down the most and I look at the one that's up the most. So which stock is down the most here? Coin. Coin is down the most. It's down 3.8%. Now, which one's up the most? MU. So this tells me that MU is the strongest one and Coin is the weakest one. But since SPY and QQQ are both green, we're going to be focusing on the strong one, MU. But say SPY and QQQ start to dip during the day, we'll be looking at the weakest one. So guys, now let me test you guys. Let's do a quick test. Okay? You guys can see my whiteboard, right? All right. Excuse my handwriting. Oh, no, that's too bad. That's really bad. So guys, if these are the stocks, then which stock are we going to be focusing on for longs? Which stock? Tesla. Why? Because it's up the most. Now, what if it's like this? What stock are we focusing on? Now, how about what if SPY starts to drop? What if the market starts acting very weak? Then what are we going to be focusing on? Tesla puts. Exactly. So guys, let me show you guys exactly why. So look, say we're in a trade, okay? Say we're in a trade. Say this right here is going to be SPY, okay? This right here is going to be SPY. And then This right here is going to be ARM. Say we're trading calls, okay? This is what happens when you have the stock with relative strength. So look, say SPY. So say this is a SPY price action. This is what's going to happen with ARM. So because it has relative strength, every time SPY goes up, ARM's going to go up hard. And when SPY drops, it's barely going to drop. When SPY goes up, it's going to go up hard. Then when SPY drops, it's going to flag out. And when SPY goes up, it's going to go up hard. Then when SPY drops, it's barely going to go. So now, do you guys see why you'd rather be in this? Because look, every time SPY dips, this dips less. And when SPY goes up, this goes up more. So that's why we want to find a stock with relative strength. It's way better than trading a stock like SPY. Okay, cool. Bottom line, guys, we trade stocks that are clearly stronger or weaker than the market. That's it. We keep it simple. Does everybody understand how I find stocks to trade every morning? How I know what's the strongest, the weakest, etc. It's simple, right? Now, second section, my daily trading plan every single day. So let's talk about your daily routine. Successful traders have extremely consistent routine. Like personally, for me, I do the same thing every day. Here's mine. Every single morning, I check SPY and QQQ's direction. Then I mark the pre-market high and the pre-market low. Then I find stocks with the strong relative strength and relative weakness. So, guys, on top of this, there's something else that I also do. So, for example, let me share my chart. So, say I have 6 charts on my screen, okay? We'll have SPY here. We'll have QQQ here. Then all the stocks that I'm watching. So, say I'm watching Coin, say I'm watching Palantir, say I'm watching AMD, and okay, we could say IWM too. So look, do you guys see how out of all these stocks, which one looks the strongest to you? Which stock looks like it's the strongest? Which one's going up the most? AMD, right? So what does that mean? We're gonna trade AMD. That's literally it. And that's what I did today. You just look for the one that looks the strongest. And the market's going up, so we're looking for the strong stock. So, guys, my whole trading strategy, it's all based off 2 lines. The pre-market high and the pre-market low. The pre-market high is the highest price a stock reached before the market opened. This is always a huge resistance. But what happens when you get over resistance? The sellers, so look, the reason a stock has resistance or support is because at resistance there's sellers and at support there's buyers. But what happens is when you clear sellers, those sellers turn into buyers. So resistance turns into support. So for example, say this is our pre-market high, okay? Say we're having a tough time, sellers coming in. Then we break above it. What happens is this area becomes a support. So you see how here we were ejecting off of it, and then now it becomes a support because we get above it. That's literally what my system's based off of. So let me show you guys. Pre-market low, same thing. The lowest price the stock reached before the market opened. Huge support, which then turns into resistance. You break under it. So why do they matter, guys? These levels act as key support dash resistance during the trading day. So let me ask you guys something. If you're between a support and resistance, so if you're in between pre-market low and pre-market high, what's the stock most likely going to do? Nothing. Chop. Go back and forth. No big moves. Therefore, there's no trend. Now, what happens if it gets above the pre-market high, the resistance? You're trending to the upside. Now, what happens if you break under pre-market low, the support? You're trending down. Exactly. One thing about my strategy, guys, is I don't trade chop. I don't trade consolidation. I only look for big moves either above the pre-market high or under the pre-market low. A lot of traders like to buy low and sell high. I don't do that. I like to buy high and sell higher. So, guys, my chart setup from like 9:30 to 4, mark 9:30ish, right when the market opens, and mark the pre-market high and pre-market low. I make sure my indicators are on every single stock. Let's go over my indicators. Okay? So look, guys, I use the 8 EMA and I use the VWAP. Now I'm about to go on my settings for each one. Settings for the EMA. Length 8, blue, and then that. Now for VWAP, I only use the middle line, and I make it yellow. Bands 1. And don't worry, guys. For everyone confused or like sad they're missing this, I'll send you guys the recording. Style, visibility. If you stay to the end. Then I make my after hours blue and my pre-market yellow. So VWAP, the yellow line. Why do I use VWAP? So guys, VWAP is the volume weighted average price. It resets every day a market opens, and it basically acts as like a dynamic support and resistance. Price loves to test VWAP and bounce or reject off of it. So the VWAP is basically the average trading price of the day for a stock. Now, indicator number 2, the 8 EMA. This is the 8-period exponential moving average. The 8 EMA is an extremely important indicator because it tells me when a stock's extended or when a stock needs to dip or short-term trend direction. 8 EMA and 9 EMA are basically the same thing. So look, here's what a chart should set up correctly should look like. Pre-market low, this isn't perfect. So you want to have your VWAP, and you have your pre-market low and pre-market high marked in your EMA. So look, I take my trades in the first hour every single day from around 9:30 to 9:35 to around 10:40, and then I'm done. One thing about me is my strategy, it works best in the first hour. So that's the only hour that I like to trade. First hour is also the most volatile hour. That's when the moves are most likely to happen. But also the first hour is the best opportunity, the clearest trends, and the contracts move the best, the most volatility. So then I execute my trades with my A plus setup. Are you guys ready to find out what my A plus setup is? Okay. Then every single day I journal my trades. Every single day I record the entry, the reason, the exit, and what worked. That's what didn't. And then every week and every month I do as well to see what's in common and what's not in common. One thing that everyone thinks is that I'm going to be real with you guys. Nobody else is going to tell you this, but everybody, all these other traders, they like, oh, when you become a profitable trader, life becomes so easy. But in reality, guys, becoming a profitable trader is extremely hard, but staying a profitable trader is also hard. You still have to be on top of your stuff. So, guys, my daily routine is every single day, I have my pre-market prep. I trade for 1 hour. I execute. I set up my charts, and I journal. Total time spent trading, just 1 hour. Look, trading's not an all-day commitment. It's not. So now let's go into my entry and exit rules. This is the most important part. This is exactly how I know when to buy stock, when to sell stock, etc. Remember, guys, one thing about me is I'm a big quality over quantity guy. I believe that less is more, and I believe that you're just wasting your time if you try and sit there and take a million trades. I believe that one trade a day can change your life. One trade a day. And I literally have one setup that I trade. It's called the close and retest. Now, there's 4 different types of retest that I trade. There's a pre-market high retest. There's a bullish VWAP retest. There's a pre-market low retest. And there's a bearish VWAP retest. Let's go over setup number 1, the pre-market high retest. So look, what is this pre-market high retest? It's when a stock breaks above the pre-market high, pulls back to retest it, and then continues higher. Why does it work? Because the pre-market high, it acts as a support once broken. Buyers basically defend that level. But this is the rule. Make sure you have this marked down in your notebook. You must wait for a 5-minute close over the pre-market high or a 5-minute close under the pre-market low. You have to. This is the confirmation. So this is your entry checklist. The stock must have strong relative strength. It must have a 5-minute close with a pre-market high with volume, and then it must pull back to the pre-market high. Now, when do you enter? So you want to enter after the 5-minute candle closes back above pre-market high, and then it taps it. What's your stop loss? Your stop loss is below the level. So let's show you an example. And for every trade, it's a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. So let's go through it step by step. First things first. Do you guys see how this is the pre-market high? You guys see how this is the pre-market high? Now, do you see how right here we get a 5-minute close above the pre-market high? Now, do you see how we come down and tap it on this candle? So what am I going to do when the stock comes right here? That's my entry. I'm buying calls. Then, as the stock, do you see how it creates a new high of day right here? This is where you trim. Then, do you see how it starts to reject this area? This is where you trim more. Then, do you see how it breaks under the EMA, this blue line right here? This is where you get all out of your position. So look, you enter on the retest. Trimming is basically selling certain contracts. So like if I have 10 contracts, maybe I'll sell 3 every trim. So you enter on the retest. You trim at new high of day. You trim at key levels. And as it goes up, and then you get all out. You get all out on the close under the EMA. It's all manual. And on this trade, I made $3,797. Now let me show you guys again. So this is the pre-market high. The pre-market's cut out, but it's back here. Do you see how we get a 5-minute close above pre-market high right here? You see how we then retest it right here? What am I doing right here? Entering. Then, what's the best part? It doesn't get under the EMA until right here. So technically, we're going to hold some runners until it gets under the EMA, right? And we're going to trim while it goes up. If you were to put $500 into this trade, your $500 would have been worth $5,500. And you only would have risked $100. That's a 1 to 50 risk to reward. Runners are like a couple contracts. So, like, say you have 10 contracts, then runners are like one contract or two contract. Never closed under pre-market high. This is a trade I took live today. So as you can see, verified P&L through TradeZella. This is the pre-market high. Like TradeZella literally is showing my entries and exits. This is the trade. We get a pre-market high retest. We then 5 minute close above pre-market high and a retest. You guys see this green arrow? That means that I entered right here. Okay. Then it had a nice pop. I trimmed at high of day. And then right here, it got under the EMA, so I sold the rest. So look, let me go over. Trims are basically like portions of cells. So that's like selling. So look, guys, let me go over stop loss. So you see how we entered off the pre-market high retest? You see how we enter on the pre-market high retest? Your stop loss is a 5-minute close under the pre-market high. So look, say we enter, we get a nice little candle like this. We enter right here. Say the next candle is like this. Then I'm going to sell. Does that make sense? That's the stop loss. So look, this is today's trade zoomed in. All I did, mark the pre-market high, 5-minute close above pre-market high. We get a retest because it was stronger than the rest of the market. I enter in the retest, trim, then sell. Also, here's more proof. I alerted this trade live with entry and exit. So look, what AMD 255 calls on watch. Trim at 15%, trim at 30%, trim at 40%, trim at 70%, trimming runners, and then all out. Then Shadi caught another trade, and he caught a 30% trade. So that's setup number one. Next. Wait, could you guys see the Discord that I showed there or no? Oh, 1 second. So look, I learned everything with entry and exit. So AMD 255 calls on watch, taking some here, trim at 15%, 30% here, big trim, 40%, trim 50%, trim 70%, only runners left. Then Shadi took a trade, SPY 679 calls. Then he made a 30% trade and said you can get all out here. So, does everybody understand the pre-market high retest? Stop loss is literally if it gets a 5-minute close under the pre-market high. Let's go over setup number 2, VWAP retest. Here, you guys want me to show you guys an example of a loss so you guys can see where the stop loss would be? Okay, let's try and find one. Okay. Well, this is the thing is like it's hard to find one. Okay. Maybe right here. Yeah. So look. Say here you tried to trade the pre-market high retest, right? Which you shouldn't have because it had earnings. But all you would have done, so you would have entered on this candle. Then you would have exited on this candle. Why? Because they got a 5-minute close under. So look, your risk is really, 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 really small. Like you're losing so little. Does that everyone understand why I'm exiting here? Because it gets the 5-minute close under. You guys understand? The pre-market high. The retest spot. Setup number 2 is a VWAP retest, a bullish one. So what is it? Stock's above VWAP. It pulls back to touch VWAP, and then it bounces back. VWAP is like the fair value of a stock. So VWAP is basically what the stock should kind of be priced at. Buyers step into that level in uptrends. So look, this is when you trade a VWAP retest. The stock must be in uptrend. VWAP must be above pre-market high. Then the price dips to touch VWAP. Then once it closes and touches VWAP, you enter. So you don't have to wait for the candle close. You can just enter in the tap. Your stop loss is below VWAP. So let me show you guys. So you guys see here
I'm
how
gonna start very simple, and then
5-minute close above pre-market high, and then you see how it taps this yellow line right here. What am I gonna do when it taps this yellow line? So why am I not looking for a pre-market high retest here? Because VWAP is above the pre-market high. If VWAP is above the pre-market high, you're always trading a VWAP retest. Now look what happens here again. What could I do here? Could trade it again. And as it goes up, you just sell, and take the win when you want to. But does everybody understand a VWAP retest? I forgot to put ADMA in the chart. Here's another one that I made $1,500 on. It's hard to see. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize that. But do you see how we get a 5-minute close above pre-market high, then we come and tap VWAP? I'm entering when we tap VWAP. And then, do you see how yesterday you rejected off this level? This is called the previous day high. The previous day high is always a big resistance. If you take a trade under the previous day high, which is yesterday's high, then your target should be previous day high. So I exited right when it hit that previous day high, which was my target. And your stop loss is a 5-minute close under VWAP. So look, if you're entering on a VWAP retest, then your stop loss is a 5-minute close under VWAP. If you're entering in a pre-market high retest, your stop loss is a 5-minute high under pre-market is a 5-minute close under pre-market high. Your stop loss is always a 5-minute close under the retest spot. No, I keep it on. Oh, after the trading day, yeah. So look, setup number 3 is a pre-market low retest. So first off, does everybody understand the bullish setups, the pre-market high and the VWAP retest? Those are setups where we trade calls. No, the 5-minute chart. Look, guys, when it taps, all I'm looking for after the stock, it's a 5-minute close above your retest spot. All I care about is a tap. I don't care about the close. I care about it to close above the level, and then I enter in the tap. Setup number 3, the pre-market low retest. What is the pre-market low retest? It's when a stock breaks below the pre-market low, then it rallies back to retest it and then continues lower. Yeah, if it doesn't retest, I don't care. I missed a trade. So why does it work? Pre-market low becomes resistance once broken. Sellers then define that level. So what I'm looking for is for the stock to have strong relative weakness, for it to break below pre-market low with volume, and for it to rally back to pre-market low, the price action test. Guys, save all your questions for the end of the class. I'll answer all of them. Now, when do you enter? You enter after a 5-minute candle close back below pre-market low in the retest. It's okay, guys. No, I'm just getting like 500 questions in the chat. You have to keep in mind there's 1,000 of you in here. So, we'll do that at the end. So, after the 5-minute candle closes back below pre-market low on the retest is when you enter. So, the stop loss is then above the pre-market low. Profit targets at least 1 to 3. So, look, you guys see how here we mark this pre-market low. Then you see how it retests pre-market low. Why do you guys think this setup isn't as A+? Can anybody take a guess on why this wouldn't be A+, though? Because it's above VWAP, yes. But then once it gets under VWAP, you have that confirmation. Then it dumps a new low of day. You're taking trims at new low of day. On that trade, I made $8,016. One more example. So it's the morning. Step by step, what are we doing? Step number 1, we mark this pre-market low. Step number 2, we wait for a 5-minute close under the pre-market low. Step number 3, we look for a pre-market low retest. We get the retest right here. What am I doing right here, guys, when it taps pre-market low? Entering puts. Now, why am I entering puts here? Because it's a pre-market low retest. Now, what am I doing here? Trim. Now, when do I get out of my full position? When do I get out of my full position? Close above the EMA. Now, you might be thinking, PB, why do you wait for a close above the EMA to sell your full position? Because me waiting for the close above the EMA will help me catch a dramatic move if there's a big dump. Yeah, guys, the chat's closed, so only I can see it. I don't want you guys to get distracted. Now, I have a question, guys. Yes, I do everything manual. Now, I have a question, guys. What can I do here? Is there a trade that I could do here? Yes, because now VWAP is under the pre-market low. VWAP under the pre-market low means we could trade a VWAP retest. What happens? We get a VWAP retest and we absolutely dump. Yes. Trim, trim, trim. Setup number 4. Trim is like a sell, guys. So trim is like when you're selling, but you're not selling your full position. Maybe you're selling a couple contracts or 30% of your position. Stop loss on a VWAP retest if it gets above VWAP. So look, now let's go over the bearish VWAP retest. What is it? So when the stock's below VWAP, it rallies up to touch VWAP, and then it gets rejected and goes back down. Why does it work? In downtrends, VWAP acts as resistance. Sellers defend that level. Entry checklist. Stock must be in a downtrend. The VWAP must be under the pre-market low. Price must rally to touch VWAP, and then it must reject it. When do you enter? Right when it taps it. And your confirmation is a rejection candle. What's your stop loss? Above the VWAP. What's your profit target? A 1 to 3 risk to reward. So, here, let's go step by step. What happens here, guys? And guys, a reminder, you guys are going to be seeing me trade this setup live tomorrow. So look, reminder, we have pre-market low marked. Then what happens right here? 5-minute close under the pre-market low. I want you guys to walk me through this trade. I'm not going to say anything. Let's see if you guys can get it. So, what happens here? I want every single person in the chat to respond. Okay. Now, what happens here? What am I doing here? What am I doing there? I'm buying puts. Why am I buying puts? Because it's under the pre-market low. It's the weakest stock of the day, and it's a VWAP retest. Now, what am I as it's going down? What am I doing? And then when do I get out of my full position? As it's going down, what am I doing? Then when do I get out of my full position? Awesome. So as it's going down, we're selling. Then once it gets above the EMA, we get out of our full position. Why is this not working? So my other example is not working, but does everybody understand the bearish VWAP retest? So now let me ask you guys something. I just went over the 4 things that I trade. Does everybody understand? I've maybe seen 2 or 3 no's and hundreds of yeses. Has anything clicked? Like, did anybody get like an aha moment for anybody? Now, 4th section, this is where we're going to go over some additional concepts that you need to have in your trading. Some of this stuff is a little bit complicated, but I'm going to try and make it extremely simple for you. Let's talk about psychological levels. Psychological levels are levels that end in zeros. So, for example, like 450, 460, 100, 110, 120, 130. Round numbers, and that's why traders pay attention to. Now, why do they matter? Is because traders and institutions place orders at these levels, which then creates support and resistance. How do you trade them? So you want to take profits near psychological levels. You want to wait for breaks and holds before adding a position, and you want to use them as stop loss zones. So let me ask you something. If there's a pre-market high retest at 99, but you have the 100 psych level right above you, are you going to take the trade? No, because the risk to reward isn't worth it. There's a huge level right above you, a psychological level. What you're going to wait for is for it to get above the psych level. So for example, guys, I want to show you guys something pretty crazy. This is a Tesla chart. I have all the psych levels marked down. I have 440 marked down. I have 450 marked down. I have 460 marked down. And I have 470 marked down. So let's go through day by day. What happens? We break under 450. And what happens? We then bounce to 440. Then what happens? Do you guys think it's a coincidence that we bounced right at 440? Do you think it's a coincidence? It's not a coincidence. It's a psychological level. Then we bounce at 440. We go straight to 450. But I have a question. What do you guys think would have happened if it broke under 440? 430. So look, do you guys think it's a coincidence that right when we tapped 450, we had a little dip? And they rejected it? No. But then what happens when it gets above 450? We have a big rip. Then we come down back to 450. We bounce. We then reject under it and have a big dump. But do you guys see how every time you have a move around the psychological levels, there's a big move? Then what happens? We get back above 450. We go to 460. Then we go from 460 to 470. Then we reject off 470. I mean, ending in fives is a psych level, but it's not as big. Does everybody kind of understand psych levels and why you should have them on your chart so that you know when to sell and stuff like that? They're pretty simple. So guys, let me tell you guys something that most traders don't like to talk about, but I'm going to talk about, is that nothing in the stock market is random. Nothing. The stock market moves level to level. Key levels are previous highs and lows that matter. These act as basically magnets for price. Flags are consolidation patterns. So for example, do you guys see how we have the pre-market high? Then what happens here? We get a 5-minute close above pre-market high. Then what do I do here? I enter calls. But do you guys see how we are kind of flagging, how we consolidate for a little bit at that pre-market high? That's a flag. And then the high of the flag is a resistance that turns into a support. So always keep that in mind. These flags are good signs. They're bullish. Consolidation is basically chop. So look, guys, stocks, they move level to level. Stocks move level to level. Nothing's random. Stocks are strong. They move from support to support and from resistance to resistance. So guys, this chart is probably very confusing to you guys, but don't worry, I'm going to go over everything. So now, everything we've talked about previously was on the 5-minute time frame, correct? Now, we're going to go to the daily time frame, okay? We're now switching to the daily time frame. This is how we find good setups on the daily and scan. So look, All we're looking for is we're looking for where price taps 3 times, or where there's a big bounce, or where support becomes a resistance. So for example, do you guys see how right here we bounce off this level? Yes. Then you see how right here we reject off this level that we previously bounced at? So guys, I'm going to make this very clear. In trading, this is how you find your big levels. This is just something that you should know in general. Like there's no really strategy behind this, but it's just something you should know. Okay. The most important levels are levels where support becomes resistance. Okay. So look, do you see how here we have a support? Then you break under it, it turns into a resistance. Support, break under it, turns into a resistance. Resistance turns into a support. So look, I have a question for you guys. Now that you see this chart, right? Looking at this chart, if a stock, say it breaks under 101, where do you think it's going to go to? Breaks under 101. Why? Why do you think it's going to go to 100? Now, how about if a stock breaks under 100? Where do you think it's going to go to? Or here, let me make this like this. This is an 8, guys. This is an 8. Now, how about if a stock breaks under 98, then goes back above 98? Where do you think it's going to go to? 100. Why? Because stocks move level to level. That's how you swing trade, guys. I wasn't going to talk about that, but that's how you swing trade. Is like you just trade like, okay, we close above 100. We're going to go to 101. I'm going to swing calls. So look. You see how, for example, here we have a resistance, right? Our next support is 173. So what happens when we get above this resistance? It turns into a support, right? This 168 level. So now when you bounce off of it, you bounce off 168. Where are you going to go to? 173. Now, where's the next spot? This previous support here. So now, if you get above 173, where do you think you're going to go to? Chat, answer. If you get above 173, where are you going to go to? If you get above this level, where are we going to go to? 176. Exactly. This is like kind of like higher concept stuff. This is like kind of confusing stuff again, but I just want you guys to understand a little bit. Just like to keep an eye on. So now what I want you guys to do is after I do this class, I want you to go on your charts and I want you to try and find your own level to level. Another example, guys. So look, here we have a support and we have a resistance. What do you think is going to happen if we break under 167.56? $164, because this is where the support is, level to level. Now, what do you think is going to happen if we get above 164.70? Now, how about if we get above 167? Exactly. So this is more swing trading stuff, but it's also good to have like for like just to have on your charts. This is more swing trading stuff. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys that just so you guys can keep an eye on like how traders build levels. Okay. Does that kind of make a little bit of sense to you guys? Has anybody ever put it in this perspective? It's okay if it doesn't make sense. It's okay. It's pretty confusing. But guys, where are we at so far? Forget about the level stuff. Does everybody understand my entry and exit criterias? I need a 1 in the chat if you understand the entry and exit criterias. Awesome. Has anybody ever explained trading to you the way that I'm explaining it to you right now? Okay, cool. Now, let's go over position sizing rules. First things first, you never want to risk more than 2 to 3% per trade. I say 2%. These are some mistakes that you want to avoid. You don't want to overtrade. So again, less is more. What does that mean? That means we're only taking the A+ setups. We're only taking the setups that are exact entry and exit criteria. As a trader, put this in your notebook, guys. As a trader, you need to be selfish. You need to only take a trade when it fits in your criteria. Then you have to move your stop loss up. When you take a trim on a trade, you don't let it go red. Then you never revenge trade. After you take one loss, you stop trading for that day. Then you stay consistent with your position sizing. Because look, what if you take a win when you're small size, but then when you're regular size, you take a loss? You have to be consistent. And then you have to journal your trades. You have to. It's how you survive in the long run. So guys, the winning formula right here. A+ setups, strict risk management, and consistent journaling is going to take you one step forward to profitability. I just gave you guys everything you need to be a profitable trader. Now it's up to you guys to see if you're going to take it to the next step. So guys, remember, when you join, you get access to me, Shawty, Clay, and the entire team. For example, today alone, I do this every single day, guys. I do this every single day. And in the trading floor, you could also see, if you go all the way up here, look at everybody who made money today. So my stop loss would have been a 5-minute close under pre-market high. Something to also keep in mind, though, is you see how pre-market this thing started to really rip? See how pre-market this thing started to really rip? That also was a pretty good signal for me. I put around $7,000 to $10,000 into every trade. Sometimes 15 to 20,000. The accelerator starts next week, but it'll be recorded if you can't make it. So the classes will all be sent to you. There's a trick with the options that's called the options premium chart that I've never seen any trader talk about, as well as the VIX. The VIX could really change your life using it in your trading, and nobody talks about it. I will just make it happen. All I need is 1 hour a day from you guys. I just need 1 hour a day. Look at Tesla today. So Tesla got a little bit of a pre-market low retest. You would have trimmed that new low of day, then got stopped in the rest. I use the ADMA. So look, on AMD, I got out of my runners right here once I got under the EMA. And I'll show you guys. Here, how about this? You guys want me to do a live login right now to show you guys proof? I'm not scared. I'll show you guys live login right now. Check this out. So let's log into my account. This is refreshing it. See, it's not a paper account, real capital. Hold up. $2,800. I trade live every single morning. You can literally copy my trades. Yeah. Today, if you would have taken the trade with $1,000, you would have made $800. My win rate is 70%. So, guys, the strategy I just showed you has about a 70% win rate. You guys want to hear something else that's pretty cool? Like, look, I'll show you guys something. So you see how AMD on the 3-minute dipped slightly below the pre-market low, but then it came back up and reclaimed it? Does everybody see how it kind of dipped under, then came back up and reclaimed it? This reclaim is a really good sign. This reclaim shows extreme strength. I don't really do EMA taps because I feel like EMA taps are kind of scalping. I do them sometimes, though. And then look, do you guys think it's a coincidence that AMD bounced directly off VWAP? You guys think it's a coincidence? You guys think it's a coincidence? Joel, I got you. No, it's not a coincidence. That's why I built this system, guys. That's why I built this system. You won't see anybody else talk about this strategy. And you guys have to realize, like, it took me 2.5 years of not sleeping at night to build this, which is why I charge for it. If you guys were in my position, be honest, would you guys do this for free and spend 3 to 4 hours a day teaching students for free? No. But this is the goal, is like, I want to help you guys become profitable traders. Then I want to hire you guys as a coach for New Age. So that's the goal, is like, you guys are going to get paid from me eventually, hopefully. We got Timothy in, Kimberly in, Mara in, Jay Chung in, R Singh in, Daniel Lands in, Andrew in, Mep C in, Peter in, and Sun in. All the spots are almost completely filled. It's a no-brainer offer. You get the premium Discord for free every day. We do accept Klarna and Split It. Guys, remember, I'm trading live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern for all you guys. So look, let me ask you something. Where did we bounce today? Pretty close to 440. And do you guys think it's a coincidence that we got above 450, retested 450, then ripped? And then what happened? When we got to the 460 psych level, we had a rejection that then became a support. Nothing's ever a coincidence. Benjamin, I see you in here. Let's go, Benjamin. I'm excited for you. Guys, we'll be going over everything, broker, anything like that. I'll be going over it. Don't worry. Who's excited? Who's excited? You guys want to see another pretty good trade that I missed today? I'm really pissed about missing this trade. MU was extremely strong. You guys see how strong MU was pre-market? Do you guys see how strong MU was pre-market? Yeah? Look at this. Pre-market high. But it was just so tough. Like, it would have been such a hard one. But technically you could. And then this is like the only EMA retest I'll trade sometimes, because what is this right here, guys? Remember what I taught you guys what a flag is? You see how it flagged and bounced directly off the EMA? No, today's the only today and potentially tomorrow, depending if we still have spots or not, or will be the only days. USD. Yeah, so again, you could literally split it up into 6 payments. You could use Klarna, split it up into 12 payments. Up to you, or you could pay it in full. If you're trying to buy, keep trying. It's because we have 200 people on the checkout right now. And I want to make something clear. Whether I win or whether I lose tomorrow, it's more or less just to show you guys what I do every single day. Does anybody have any charts you want me to review? Yeah, just ask me questions. So, Hims, this is a really tough stock to trade. I don't look, so guys, like this trade's low volume. I won't trade it. Yeah, PLTR would have been a loss today, personally, if I traded this. But why would you not trade PLTR today? Let me ask you guys something. Why would you not trade PLTR today? Because you're fading the trend of the market. The market's going up. You won't trade puts. The market's going up. Why would you trade puts while the market's going up? You have to trade the trend of the market. No, you enter on the tap. You enter on the tap. You enter on the tap. I'm excited for you guys, man. We go live every morning. It won't let you join? DM me. Can you buy the VWAP retest if it's declining under the pre-market high? No. So look, you guys want to know when the VWAP retest works the best? You guys, I didn't go over this yet, but you guys, let me show you something. The retest works the absolute best when VWAP and pre-market high are lined up. So if you have a VWAP card got flagged, here's the link. Yeah, you have to verify with your bank. So look, if that happens to you, it's okay. It's normal. So when you have a VWAP and a pre-market high retest lined up is when you have the best trades. The best trades are when the VWAP and the pre-market high are lined up. Why don't you just trade options Aspire QQQ? Dude, because relative strength and relative weakness. Relative strength and relative weakness. Oh, we got another person. We got Rogers in and Arcadius in. Same thing with the downside. Pre-market low lined up with a VWAP retest is extremely A+. Yeah, I hate trading the indexes personally. I hate them. Just such crappy price action in my opinion. I'll show you guys a setup that maybe could be good tomorrow, though. You guys want to see a setup I haven't watched? So AMD is flagging on the daily. I think if AMD can get above this like 260, you should do it. Yeah, look, I will recommend every single person to don't take any more trades until after the accelerator. The accelerator is going to change the way you think about trading. I'm going to teach you guys how to use the VIX in your trading, which no traders taught you that. I'll also be teaching you guys how to use the options premium. So there's a trick with the options premium chart that will help you catch moves that nobody goes over it, but I'm going to go over it. Yeah, for long term, I do. So look, if you're interested in joining the accelerator, this is your chance. This is your chance to make a change, finally. You choose what stock you're going to trade before the day opens. No, I watch them all live. I find like a couple of stronger weak ones, and I watch them live and see what's moving the best. You guys are going to see tomorrow how I do it. Yes, your wife can join you. I'm live every single morning, but usually around like 9:15, 9:20. Tomorrow I'll be live at 9 a.m. Flag is a bullish symbol, yes. Yes, if you come tomorrow, then you'll be sent a replay of all 3 days. You guys see how MU, remember how I told you guys the flags? You guys see how just consolidation. And then the coolest part to me is how the resistances turn into support. So you see how this resistance turns to support? Resistance turns to support. Now I'm sure this resistance will eventually turn to support. So A plus is when VWAP and pre-market high line up. So for example, when you have a chart like this, say this is your pre-market high. Okay. And you have VWAP lined up with it. Oh, this is when it goes absolutely A plus. Same thing with the downside. So, oops. So does this make sense? How when it's lined up with the VWAP is when it's absolutely A plus? Yeah, and by the way, guys, like if you've been struggling as a trader, if you've been having a tough time becoming profitable, and if you just feel lost, if you feel like you keep taking one step forward and two steps backwards, and if you feel like I'm a good teacher, if you feel like you're ready for me to hold you accountable, then the accelerator is for you. But I'm gonna make this very clear. I don't want people that have like that aren't willing to go all in. I only want you to join if you genuinely believe that you're gonna give it your all. If you genuinely am gonna take everything I tell you and you're gonna execute it. So are you all in? Please send link. There you go. All the students already talking. Yeah, introduce yourself. It's okay, Johnny. You don't have a lot to start with. That's 100% fine. You could learn now and save up, then get started whenever. But you're saving money by joining. I'll also answer every single question put in here for the next 2 weeks will be answered. I answer every single question. You can basically copy my trades because I alert all of them with entry and exit. So today, like AMD calls on watch, taking some here, etc. Yes, tomorrow I'm going to tell you guys. I'm going to literally tomorrow is going to be exactly how my regular, my regular trading is, my regular lives are. Tomorrow I'm going to be going over literally just act like it's a regular premium day, Yeah. One thing about me is like, guys, I've got a lot of hate, and I need to turn this share off. I need to be real with you guys for a second. I've got a lot of hate in my life, and people say like, PB, you're not qualified to coach anybody. You're 18 years old, or PB, you're a scammer. You're a liar. But guys, the truth is like, I've proved to you guys. I've showed you guys stamps. I've showed you guys bank statements. I don't know what else I can do. Just because it's unrealistic that I'm at where I'm at today doesn't mean it should be something that you don't believe in me. I've been blessed to be in the position that I am. I've been blessed to find my passion at a young age. I've been blessed to be a good teacher at a young age. But that doesn't mean that you guys should just not believe in it because it's unrealistic. I know it's unrealistic. I know it is. My whole story is unrealistic. But don't use that as an excuse. Don't use that as something like, oh, I'm not going to join because of this. No. Look, if you don't like me, if you don't like my teaching style, don't join. But what I will say is, if you genuinely believe in me, if you believe I can help you, if you believe I can hold you accountable, if you believe this is the right move for you, join. And if not, then no worries. Our spots are almost fully filled. And we're for sure going to fill them tomorrow. So it's 100% up to you. This is my passion, guys. I'm blessed. You could join here, guys. There's the link for people asking. I also want to make clear that like this isn't just a course. It's literally a team dedicated to your success. We have limited spots available at this price. Like I told you guys, I'm only accepting 100 people. I'll probably never do this ever again because it takes a lot of time for me. Like you guys have to realize I already make a lot of money trading. It's like when I do this, it's kind of like me giving my freedom away, but it's okay because I know God put me on this earth to help people. God put me on this earth to help as many people as I possibly could, which is why I do this. If you're ready, take action now. Lock your spot in before it's too late. Yes, it'll be extended, Timothy. It'll be extended. Yeah, if you need another way to pay, just DM me. So, guys, for those of you who took action, congratulations. You made the best decision for a trading career. We're going to take amazing care of you. For those still thinking about it, sleep on it, but don't overthink it. You know what you need to do. Tomorrow, we're going to trade live together, repitch for those who haven't joined, more Q&A and final opportunity. And just a reminder, guys, there's a 6-month payment plan with a credit card with a credit card. If you have a credit card that has over $1,500 limit, you can split it up into 6 payments interest free. We also accept after paying Klarna, we can split it into 12 monthly payments. I'm gonna review a couple more questions, so ask your questions, and then I'm gonna head out of here. I'm gonna review a couple more questions. Can I explain Greeks? No, that'll be something that Greeks are something I'll go over in the mentorship. Oh, what are bad retests? Okay, you guys want a trick that I haven't talked about yet? I was planning on only keeping this for the accelerator people, but you guys want me to just go over it now? Okay. This is something I'm really proud of. Oh, you can even look at it right here. So look. You guys see how we have an uptrend and then we have this candle right here. a candle where you reject highs, and there's this nasty wick. This candle right here is called a gravestone doji candle. Let me go over it. So look, guys, if you have this right here is called a gravestone doji candle. When you see a candle like this, you do not enter a retest. This is a sign that a reversal is incoming. So look, say here, like you have a pre-market high retest, right? You would not take this because you have a gravestone doji. You have a gravestone doji is a sign that it's going to fail. It's a sign that the stock is going to reverse. So look, say you have pre-market high. Boom. Boom. Then you have something like this. This is a sign the stock is going to reverse. You do not enter after you see a candle like this. Okay? So even if it retests, it doesn't matter. You don't enter. This is a sign that it's going to reverse. Because what happens is when you see these nasty wicks at high of day, let me explain them to you guys. These nasty wicks are sellers indicating that they're taking control. When you see these wicks, it's sellers indicating that they're taking control and that the price doesn't deserve to be there. So then you could read through price action that, okay, it's going to go reverse. Same thing for the upside. So if you see a candle like this, high chance it's going to reverse to the upside. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Oh, wow. We got a lot more people who just joined. We got Khan in, Jawan in, Jose in, and LS in. Guys, I'm going to end the call here very soon. So if you haven't joined already, here's the link to join. Again, I'll probably never do this ever again. No, it's not full yet. It's not full. Let's see. What's up, Andrew? What's up, Daniel? You enter the program because PB strategy is the only strategy that has worked already for me. Guys, life is all about balance. But what does that mean? That doesn't mean that you have to always necessarily be balanced. There's two sides of balance. There's being balanced, there's being unbalanced. When I was trying to become a profitable trader, I was extremely unbalanced. Yes, Steph, here's our PayPal, but you'd have to do it now. It's newagetradingteam@gmail.com. If you do it now, then I'll have someone call you and get you in. So one thing that like I did is I was extremely good at time management. So I would leave school and I wouldn't scroll on my phone. I wouldn't do any of that. I would spend all my time reviewing the charts. I'll spend all my time trying to make trading work. You just have to realize that 1 to 3% of traders become profitable. If 1 to 3% of traders become profitable, you can just you can PayPal me. If 1 to 3% of traders become profitable, do you deserve to be in that 1 to 3%? There's still 700 people in here right now. What makes you supposed to be one of the part of the 7 people compared to the others? Really ask yourself. Do you deserve it? Do you really deserve it? Got another person in. Guys, if you had trouble joining today, just DM me. Stefan, I see you in here. What did I tell my principal? Okay, Mason, I see. Basically, I told him that I was going to drop out if he didn't give me what I wanted. Let me see. Sorry, there's just a lot of people who just joined, so I don't see necessarily everybody right now. If you got the confirmation email, then you're in. You need to sleep on it? No worries. Hopefully there's spots open tomorrow, but I can't guarantee it. But look, you think saying that you need to sleep on it, like no offense, but it's just like what is there to think about? What is there to sleep on, you know? Yes, you get the Discord for free for 1 year. Well, I also showed him what I did. I showed him, like, I made a whole presentation for him, you know? I made a full presentation for him. So look, do you guys see how, like, here, the trade never retest the VWAP or any of our retest areas? You guys see that? So what does that mean if it never retests any of our retest areas? Means that we don't take the trade. It's okay to miss trades. It's okay to miss trades. Yeah, I don't really trade the EMA retest though. I don't really trade the EMA retest. Sometimes I do, but rarely, guys. I really do. Because look, it's like I rather go for quality over quantity. I personally know that like the VWAP and the pre-market low are going to be better retests. So why would I stick to anything like that's not that, you know? I like the A plus. All right, you guys want to know another trick? I'll write it down for you. If a stock has earnings that week, you don't trade it till after the earnings. You want to know another trip? If SPY and QQQ aren't above the pre-market high or under the pre-market low, your trade has a less chance of working. So you want to look for trades where SPY is above pre-market high and the relative strength is also above the and the relative strength is also, or SPY's under the pre-market low and relative weakness also. Because if SPY is trending with your stock, then you have a higher chance of winning. Does that make sense? Does this make sense? You want the SPY to be moving with your thing, with your thing. Yes, I entered the tab. Should I put the link back up? Okay, here. Here's the link. I'll put it up, but I'm not gonna leave it up for much